I've heard somebody say great. That's good. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, this meeting was notice sent to the Asbury Park Press on January 27th, 2023, and has been duly advertised in the Asbury Park Press, issue of June 30th, 2023. All municipal clerks of the townships, the boroughs within the regional high school district have been duly notified, and the requirements for this posting has been met on June 27th, 2023. Would you please stand and join me in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Connor, you have changes to the agenda?
Just one, Mr. President. On the agenda that was pre-printed prior to the meeting, the board did not discuss, in exception number 4, negotiations with the custodial maintenance and grounds. It was not discussed. There was no other changes.
Thank you. I have a motion to approve August 24th regular meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Parisi, second. Any discussion? Not hearing any discussion, motion please.
Mrs. Bruno?
Yes.
Mrs. Cappiello?
Yes.
Mrs. Glavine?
Yes.
Ms. McCobb?
Yes.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes. Just a reminder, communications are on file with the board secretary. We're now going to have our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Bruno. So I'm going to do this from up here just because it's easier, because we're going to have some folks coming down to be recognized momentarily, and I apologize that I kind of have my back to the board. I just do want to take a moment, though. We have the 2023-2024 members of the Executive Student Cabinet here. Most of them, anyway. A couple of them had hard conflicts this evening. And for folks who haven't been following, one of the things that the Superintendent's Executive Student Cabinet has been in existence for about a decade now, and it's a high school, it's a representative from each of the high schools, and we meet with them regularly, and they usually work on whatever large-scale district initiatives are happening that year. So if it's a strategic planning year, they're very involved with that. If it's a middle stage accreditation year, they're involved with that. But they're also responsible to help us often run focus groups and things like that within their own high school. And so they're a liaison between their school building and my office. And it's a pretty strenuous application process, and you know, there's obviously a lot of wonderfully deserving students in the Freehold Regional High School District. And so it's a real nice honor for these students. Usually, as the school year progresses, when we go building to building, individual members of the Executive Student Cabinet will give a report about what's happening in their building. But since this is the first meeting of the year that we're in the building, and we're only a couple years into the school year, we just wanted to introduce all of these outstanding young folks this evening and look forward to some future reports, right? So if you can just stand and just give a little wave when I say your name, and again, a couple of them could not be here because they have hard conflicts, because obviously they're doing this, but they're doing about 12,000 other things as well, so we appreciate their time. And by the way, once you're introduced, you do not have to stay at this meeting. Please go home and get some time for yourselves. But we have John J.J. Cifelli from Colts Neck High School. So, we have Nicole Cruz Morales from Freehold High School. Nicholas Carnival from Freehold Township. Emma Corbin from Marlboro High School. And Emma Brockman from Manalapan and Alexa Barbosa from Howell were unable to attend tonight, but we look forward to partnering with you. Dr. Hazel and Dr. Donovan certainly do as well. And I'll move into the next part of the evening. Over the past several years, probably maybe 6 or 7 years now, the September meeting is the time where the district publicly recognizes the paraprofessionals of the year. And folks know in school systems, there's an awful lot of individuals that work very hard to make it the very best experience for our students, both academically, socially, emotionally, and no school system could survive without their paraprofessionals who are really on the front lines of making differences for kids every day. And we have some excellent ones across the district here that we're very proud of. But we want to recognize the paraprofessionals of the year this evening. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call you down one by one. We have a little blurb to read that was sort of shared by your folks in your building. What I would ask is if you could walk up to Dr. Howland. She has the plaques themselves, and then we're going to take a group picture up front. We'll do it one at a time. So, Shannon Majeski from Colts Neck High School. You draw the short straw. Ms. Majeski has been paraprofessional for FRHSD for 2 years. She provides emotional and behavioral support to students with cognitive impairments and special needs in our language learning disability program. She easily builds positive relationships with both staff and students. She assists the LLD students in cross-country and track and provides incredible structure and positive reinforcements to our students, and her collaborative, proactive approach makes her a valuable part of our team. So congrats, Shannon. Next, I'm going to just read the blurb about her. She's unable to be here tonight, but I do want to recognize her. That's Deborah Gorini from FRHSD High School, and I think Dr. Ross will accept that for her. Ms. Gorini has been a paraprofessional with the FRHSD Regional High School District for 13 years. She has assisted our students in an array of programs ranging from mainstream electives to cognitive mild courses. Mrs. Gorini devotes much of her time to the CogMile program, where she assists students daily to improve their independence, enhance their academic skills, and practice their vocational skills by services as a job coach in the workplace training program. She also participates in many extracurricular activities. She's an instrumental member of the Freehold Borough family and always puts our students' needs first. So if you could share that, Dr. Ross. Next, we have Heather Stahl from Freehold Township High School. Ms. Stahl has been a paraprofessional with the FRHSD for 2 years. She works as a job coach, assisting. It's like you got to come through here first. Works as a job coach, assisting students in developing work readiness skills and independence in various community-based employment settings. She promotes a positive and healthy culture and climate within the school community, and her sunny disposition and flexible mindset set the tone for high student efficacy that promotes maximum growth in the development of her students. She is reliable and dependable and is always open to feedback and works in a collaborative manner with staff members and students. Congratulations, Ms. Stahl. Next, we have Linda Kowinski from Howell High School. Ms. Kowinski has been a paraprofessional at FRHSD for 14 years. She has assisted our students in an array of programs ranging from self-contained, resource, in-class support. She does it all. She takes the time to connect with students and builds positive relationships to support their needs throughout the days. She is always supportive of our students, always follows what they need to the T, and has a great sense of humor. So congratulations. Next, we have Joy Zimniski from Manalapan High School. Ms. Zimniski has been a paraprofessional at FRHSD for 25 years. Throughout her career at Manalapan, she has worked with students with a vast degree of challenges, and currently is a paraprofessional in the Regional Learning Academy, where she understands the importance of making nurturing and positive connections with all students. She always demonstrates the daily motto, a smile can make all the difference, because she is always smiling. She assists the classroom teacher, inspiring students to meet their academic, social, and emotional goals while making them feel safe and connected to Manalapan High School. Congratulations, Joy. Next, we have Linda Petrosino from Marlboro High School. Ms. Petrosino has worked in the Freehold Regional High School District for the past 8 years. For the past 3 years, she's been at Marlboro High School in a vast degree of supporting roles. Her kind nature is shown through her ability to develop relationships with students and staff alike. She always demonstrates a high degree of professionalism and a willingness to adjust to different classroom settings that range from working individually with students in the LLD program to supporting students and teachers in the general education environment as a supplemental support instructor. Ms. Petrosino ensures the success of our students as she assists them in completing all of their coursework. This is the photo op. Just remember, that blue one's going on the website. So look at that blue phone.
That's why it's such a good color.
Mr. Bruno, I'll just continue with my report. One of the more important items is obviously legislation was passed in a couple months back that provided S2 relief for the Frio Regional High School District. We have been told that that will cover our losses for S2 for this year and next. It hasn't been specifically spelled out in writing to us yet. We're still awaiting that. But obviously, that allowed us to continue with our transportation operation and move forward in a tough financial climate. We are very appreciative for our legislative representatives who helped make that happen. Senator Gopal, Senator O'Scanlan, many of our local officials were here in Manalapan. I can tell you the Manalapan Mayor, Susan Cohen, is always involved in assisting this district. But that still doesn't stop the almost 25 million that we were reduced over a 5.5-year period. And so we're hopeful that we're off that path. The real work for the state of New Jersey is to outline a new school funding formula moving forward. There is legislation that has called for a study of that and an examination, but obviously these things take time. The bottom line in terms of what S2 means and how that is interpreted with the School Funding Reform Act, that ends not this year but next year. And so the clock is ticking. And these things, I hope that sooner rather than later, the folks in Trenton really put their heads together to figure out a school funding formula that doesn't take from one school district to support another. And we benefited from that at one point, and then we were obviously deeply harmed by that at one point. And you know, school funding needs to encompass all school districts, right? And needs to take it. And one of our biggest concerns about the current formula was that in no way does it take into consideration how much you spend. So school funding formula does not take into consideration how much you spend. So for those of you who are efficient, right, you sometimes get penalized for that. I hope that some real headway is made there because I can tell you that what this district went through over the past several years it will take a couple of years to right that ship, certainly. And it didn't matter how efficient we were financially, right? And so something has to give there. And I can tell you that, you know, in the first week of school when we opened, and all of our schools opened well, obviously we just happened to get hit with a heat wave, and so the inevitable calls for air conditioning came. Why can't you air condition the schools? Well, we could, but that would cost us millions and millions of dollars that we don't have. That's the issue. I do think that public education is sort of the last bastion of having these huge old buildings that don't have AC, and somewhere along the line, the the students in those buildings, the faculty and the staff in those buildings, certainly deserve air conditioning like every other civilized place on the planet. Now, we know that each year the heat issue usually affects us the first couple days of the school year and probably the back end of the few days. So it's usually a few degrees of discomfort. And in my 13 years here as superintendent, I've never had an early dismissal because of the heat. Never. We never did it. We did it this year, frankly, because some of the second floor classrooms in some of our buildings were in the 90s. And nobody can, it's just not conducive to learning for kids. It's not healthy for faculty and staff or students. I would say that some parents reached out and said, how do we get legislation passed that supports infrastructure? The infrastructure needs of schools are coming due. And schools are not, under the 2% cap, they're not going to be able to meet those needs. And the physical spaces are important for the learning environment for everybody. And I think that, it's interesting as adults we say, well, it's not that hot and they can just suck it up. None of us sit in 85 degrees for 8 hours on our own and say that's fine, right? So something needs to be done there across the state level. I hope that there's some degree of funding that comes available for schools to make that happen. And then finally, last piece, Mr. Bruno, Dr. Garibay from Colts Neck High School and myself, last year we authored a report on school safety and security for the New Jersey Association of School Administrators. That report was shared widely, and we were asked next week to meet with the Joint Committee on Public Education to talk about many of the findings there, because some of the things that we found in surveying the state was a real discrepancy in what's available to school districts as it relates to safety and security. And again, it's a tale of have and have-nots as it relates to security. And when we're all talking about how important student safety is first and foremost, and you have competing dollars in terms of what you are or not going to do, a lot of districts have been forced to, I don't want to use the term cut corners, just not make available some of the security benefits that other districts make available. It's a very disparate picture across the state of New Jersey. We're sharing that report with the Joint Committee with the hopes that some of our legislators will pick that up. And like any other categorical aid, like extraordinary aid, they will look for a security fund for schools in New Jersey. Because in my 13 years here, we have added 6 security officers. We have added 6 S3s and SROs, so 12 staff members, while we were also being forced to reduce overall staff. And you can't cut corners when it comes to security, so those 12 staff members are important, but those are the types of decisions school districts are making. And it's an unfortunate decision when you're making, when you have to make a choice between security and an English teacher for kids and things like that. And so we'll be making that case on October 5th before the Joint Committee. And that concludes my report, Mr. Bruno.
Thank you, Dr. Sampson. You gonna come back up? Come back. Okay. I'll wait for you. We have no board reports tonight. Mr. Boyce, are there changes to the agenda?
Yes, there are. So I'll walk through them. Let me begin with, there was an item on the agenda, H5, under Program of Operations, and the title was Approval to Submit Application for Stabilization Aid. And there was resolution to be provided at the meeting, and there was a stack of those resolutions out back. And board, you all have a copy of it in front of you. But if you recall, this is now the 3rd year in a row that the state has made available a pot of money that's competitive, so submit application for it. But it's aimed at districts that have felt the impact of S2, as Dr. Sampson just went through, which sought to really shift state-level funding between districts, and we've certainly seen our share of impact on that. But it's that and/or a structural deficit in your budget. So we're making application again this year. The first 2 years, we were successful in receiving some funding for specific purposes. The first 2 years, there was the pot of money that was available to school districts did go down. We expect that to continue, and the number of applications went up, and we expect that to continue also. But we are putting forward our application that focuses on roofing and paving, priority level 2. If you recall, in the referendum, it was roofing and paving was the scope of work, but it was the most urgent, critical layer of the roofing and paving work that we needed to do. So we're submitting that, and the body of that resolution is now available for your review. I have an addition to G1, which is approval of resignation, the addendum to the agenda is included, again, on a yellow piece of paper in the back of the room. But approval of resignations adds one name, and also in G3, approval of appointments adds 2 names. So if you could add those to what was pre-printed on the agenda. And finally, a new item, an entirely new item, and this will fall under G18, and the title will be a separation agreement, and I'll read it into the record. Be resolved that the Freehold Regional High School District Board of Education approves the separation agreement with employee number 5362. So that's in addition to the pre-printed agenda. Those are my changes, Mr. Bruno.
Thank you. We have no public participation tonight. So I'm going to continue with the agenda. May I have a motion to approve G1 through G17?
18 is
I'm
approved.
sorry, 18.
Motion. Second. Yes.
Not hearing any discussion, motion please. Roll call?
Roll call, Mrs. Bruno,
Yes.
Mrs. Capiello,
Yes.
Mrs. Lavin,
Yes.
Ms. McCobb,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi,
Yes.
and Mr. Bruno.
Yes. So we're going to do H1 through I1.
Second.
That's programmed operations, building, transportation, and physical plant. Was there changes to that at all? Is that correct?
There were changes, but
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve H1 through I1?
Second.
Mrs. Capiello, second.
Discussion, please. Not hearing any discussion, roll call, please.
Ms. Bruno,
Yes.
Ms. Capiello,
Yes.
Ms. Lavin,
Yes.
Ms. McCobb,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno.
Yes. We're going to take educational programs and administration, J1 through K1. May I have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Not hearing any discussion?
Ms. Bruno,
Yes.
Ms. Capiello,
Yes on everything, but K1 I abstain on Dr. Sampson and Dr. Hazel.
Ms. Lavin,
Yes.
Ms. McCobb,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi,
Yes, but I abstain on K1 with respect to myself.
and Ms. Bruno.
Yes, and I abstain from K1 also.
Mr. Bruno, with respect to yourself.
With respect to myself only.
Almost as fast.
Do we have any old business we'd like to discuss? You wanna do it yet?
Yeah,
Great.
Mr. Bruno. Fitting that we're here tonight at Manalapan High School. I've been asked by the Cetera family to announce the establishment of the Jennifer Cetera Memorial Scholarship. This scholarship is awarded in loving memory of Jennifer Cetera. Jennifer was a school teacher for more than 33 years in the Diocese of New York, Brooklyn, and Trenton. Her exceptional teaching and tutoring skills positively impacted many students from grades 1 to 8. Jennifer also served on the Freehold Regional High School District Board of Education from 2009 to 2020, representing Manalapan High School, and held the titles of President and Vice President. As a member of the Freehold Regional High School District Board and an educator, her decisions and negotiations were always in the best interest of students and residents. She volunteered on community committees for Manalapan Township, which she dearly loved. Students will be able to apply for this scholarship. Criteria will be, you have to be the Manalapan High School senior, they have to have a grade point average of 3.5 or higher, they have to pursue a career in education, maintain good attendance, have well-rounded social skills with peers and staff by being involved in school activities such as clubs or sports, have 30 hours of participation and volunteering in servicing the community, have 2 letters of recommendation, and submit an essay on their experience at Manalapan High School and what inspired them to pursue a career in education.
Thank you so much. Do we have any new business tonight?
Just want to know, I saw Committee Woman Research come in, so welcome, Marion. And Mayor Cohen got a special shout out. It's like it comes to every meeting, but not the one in Manalapan because she has a conflict. So just wanted, and I know how close each of you were to Ms. Cetera, so it's really fitting to do this at Manalapan. And Steve Cetera came in earlier to make it official. So thank you.
Do we have any other new business? Not here.
Just one thing, as the school board rep, I sent out an email just reminding all the board members that the Monmouth County School Board Association is having their meeting next Thursday evening at Colts Neck, and they're doing a presentation on HIBs, harassment, intimidation, bullying. I heard it's going to be a great presentation by one of the leading experts in New Jersey that does work on HIBs. It is a hybrid meeting, so if you want to attend in person, you got to register through the school board website. They offer you a wonderful meal. I think the last time I was there, they had a delicious steak, and or you could do it virtually online. So I just wanted to let the board members know that if you haven't been to one of our county school board meetings over the Colts Neck Inn, they're really great. You get to meet a lot of board members from around the county, and you don't have to go all the time, but it's good to try to get to 1 or 2 a year if you can, right?
Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
Motion.
Boy, somebody's getting really fast. All those in favor? Yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.